and welcome to Cashless Happy Hours with me, Anthony.
And me, Darren.
And welcome back if you are returning. If you are new to us, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Welcome.
But if this is your first time coming across this podcast, or maybe it's you've returned and you can't remember anything else, head to our website www.castlessyouth.org.uk, where you can find the rest of the podcast, as well as a YouTube channel. You can find Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so much more, as well as our contact information, which are free email addresses: Anthony, Darren, or info@castlessyouth.org.uk. Send us questions, send us stories, send us comments, whatever you want to send it.
Send it.
No spam, no.
Unless it's actual spam. Spam. Wonderful spam. Sorry.
It's the weirdest moment ever.
Just, all those Monty Python fans now are just like, yeah, spam.
I know. The fact you quoted spam a lot. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the whole sketch if you want.
No, I
don't menu. Spam and chips. Spam.
Anyone that doesn't like Monty Python now is like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, just watch that sketch. I find it hilarious. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's an amazing sketch. So, how you doing, Anthony?
Yeah, good, thanks you. That's it. No, as you can tell, it's just myself and Darren today. We are recording this on the Friday morning, due for a 2:00 release. It has been one of those weeks.
T-minus 2 hours and 43 minutes.
Yeah.
Until this goes live.
If you are listening to this on the day of release, this is almost in live time. Like, what you hear now, we'll be doing something else afterwards on the same day. How weird is that for you?
It is, yeah. It's like a mad rush because we've both had really busy weeks.
We have. But yeah, no, my week's been okay. I'm okay. I've been in pat testing things at the church this morning. For anyone that doesn't know what pat testing is, ask someone else, because neither do I really. They just stick a sticker on my equipment.
What they do is they plug it into a machine, make sure the voltage is right, check the wire to make sure it's not frayed, and say, yeah, it's safe. That is it.
Yeah, now I have a sticker on the bottom of my laptop.
And also, fun fact, it is a pointless exercise because it's not actually required by law. Did you know?
Oh, no.
No, it's not a legal requirement to have equipment pat tested. It is advised. It's advised to have them pat tested, which to me seems a bit pointless then. I mean, why pay for something you don't actually need? I think common sense shows you that if you've got a wire sticking out of your laptop wire, don't use it.
Well, you say that, but didn't you try and... Didn't we talk last week about you biting a wire? So, common sense...
I don't think that was last week. I think that was... Wasn't that... I think I cut that out the...
Was it the week before?
The week before, because I think I cut that out last week's podcast because it went on quite long. So you could have had over an hour worth of us rambling. But instead, you got 47 minutes.
But yeah, so that's what I did this morning. Darren, how's your week been?
It's been all right. Been busy. Started at Carrington College as the chaplain. So, the Carrington campus, still part of Bridgewater and Taunton College, but headed over to the Carrington one. I'm there every Thursday, 11:30 till 2:30. Got to look around the new, was new 4 years ago, the Nuclear Training Centre. So obviously here in Somerset, in Bridgewater particularly, we are right next door to Hinkley Point, which is where the new nuclear power station is being built to, nuclear power. That's safe. I mean, nuclear's safe, isn't it? You can play with it.
It just always reminds me of The Simpsons.
Yes. Hopefully that won't happen. So I got to look around the nuclear centre, the training centre there, and really modern building, amazing modern building. If anybody wants to have a look, head online and you can see all the pictures online of the building. They got special equipment in one of the rooms that we can only go as far as the doorway, weren't allowed inside the room. I don't think any nuclear was in there, but it was all to do with some flow system.
So why You became chaplain, yeah?
Yeah.
Why are you looking around a nuclear?
Because it's part of the college. It's the training.
Okay.
It's the training centre. It's something that they offer as part of Bridgewater and Taunton College. It's being funded by the government and by EDF, who are building the nuclear power station. And I think it's their kind of give back to Bridgewater to kind of go, well, we're building this on your doorstep. Why not we train up some of the people that live here to be part of the new power station when it opens? So,
cool.
So did that this week.
Well, there you go. There's a career. If anyone's listening for the actual careers talks, Darren said there, there's training that can be done for things like that as well. Ooh.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're quite lucky here in Bridgewater because we've got Bridgewater and Taunton College is comprised of 3 main campuses. So you've got Taunton main campus, and then you've got Bridgewater campus, and you've got Carrington campus. Carrington is a little bit different than the other 2 because it branches off. So we've got, I think it's called Roadway Farm or Rondway, something like that. I haven't been there yet. Just going there next week to look at the farm. But it's a farming area, so agricultural teaching goes on there. So, looking after animals. We've got animal welfare, which is like training up veterinary nurses, got their own centre. Golf club. I mean, I didn't realise Carrington had a golf club, part of the college, but there's a golf club.
Amazing.
So next time you come down, because I'm staff, apparently I get a discount.
Amazing.
Obviously, we've got the nuclear centre. There is horticulture. So the whole shebang. So it's a lot of specialist college courses.
So many opportunities.
And within Carrington, because of all of that, there is also residential students there as well. So people will actually stay there Monday to Friday, go home on weekends, or maybe stay there on weekends. And there's 2 sides. There's the nuclear side, which has a brand new modern accommodation, and then there's the rest of the Carrington. It's a little bit older. Reminds me of 1960s, 1970s buildings, very boxed shapes, kind of things, which I didn't realise. But there's over 140 odd rooms over there just in one part.
Wow.
Which I never realised. So if you live 25 miles or more away from the college, you can actually apply for a bursary to help with the accommodation. So if anybody further afield wanted to come to Carrington to actually study, then there is that opportunity, which I think is pretty cool.
That is cool. I like that.
Just had a plug. And, I should ask Bridgewater now for some money.
Yeah, they can sponsor us if they want. You can put adverts up around the campus.
Sponsored by Bridgewater and Taunton College.
Oh, can you start putting adverts for the podcast up around the college?
I could do. What I could do is, you get the Spotify play picture.
Yeah,
it's just plain, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just going to go print a load of those out and just pop them on.
Yeah,
notice boards and just see if anybody links on.
Do it.
But but also I've been making a really cool leaflet that I'm showing Antony now. Just to explain what the chaplaincy is about, because there's nothing about chaplaincy. So so we want to get a leaflet.
Sarcastic I sounded. I think I'm so sorry.
Whatever. But how do you make a leaflet look appealing? You can't.
You don't.
You just can't do it.
No.
But we need to get the word out there of what actually chaplaincy is all about. So
you know what you should do? Talk about it on a podcast. Send a QR code out. That's how you make it.
Okay. So to all of those
next week.
Next week we're going to talk about chaplaincy. And hopefully I'll stick all the QR codes around the college next week and just see if anybody comes on to listen.
Speaking of listening, though, Darren, you got some new ears this week, didn't you?
I did get some new ears this week. I was thinking, what do you mean new ears? I think headphones. I don't know. Honestly, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, we spoke earlier, so for anyone that doesn't know, Darren and I will chat beforehand and say what we've discussed in today. And we decided today we were literally just going to have a talk, and we're just going to chat. We got a few ideas of topics we're going to talk about. But as I was driving along, I was like, I'm going to ask him about his new ears and just see how confused he gets.
My new ears, yeah. Actually, I had the same thought about talking about it because I don't know if I ever have I?
So we've touched on it, but I don't know if you've ever really gone into detail. And I thought, actually, today's quite a good day to explain. So you've got new ears. Explain what that means by you've got new ears for anyone listening that hasn't heard about it before.
So if you're thinking, has Darren gone for an operation and had his ears pinned back or something, and they're looking brand spanking new, or I've lost them in an accident, or is it Picasso? Did he chop off his ear, or was it somebody else?
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, yeah, apparently he chopped off his ear to see Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, actually, isn't it? It's not Gogh.
It's spelled Van Gogh. It's spelled Van Gogh, but it's pronounced Van Gogh, isn't it? But apparently, Brendan came home and told me that he chopped off his ear so he could draw it. Now, I always was under the impression that he chopped off his ear to send it to his girlfriend to show his love. But I might be wrong. Answers in the emails. Send them in. Let us know what the real reason.
I heard it was that he cut it off to send to someone that he was in love with.
It's a bit weird, though.
A widely accepted version is that Van Gogh's story is that he severed his ear in a fit of mania after a fight with someone else, then gave it to a girl named Rachel out of affection for her.
Hey, I really like you. Have my left ear.
Yeah.
I think it was his right ear, actually. There is a self-portrait of him that he did that shows him in a like a bandage around his head.
But it's weird that you immediately said Picasso, because if you look it up, if I write into Google which artist cut off his ear, it says, the question is, when did Picasso cut his ear off? And the answer is, the Dutch artist, Vincent van Gogh, cut off it. Different people.
Well, anyway, back to the topic in hand. I had, when I was younger, I had lots of ear infections. And one of them was really bad that came to the point where it was eating away at the mastoid bone and at the hearing bones within inside my ear. So I had to have extensive surgery trying to remove that disease that was causing it. And because of that, my hearing is not great. Obviously, if you damage the inside of your ear, it's not going to be. So I had hearing aids for a few years, the conventional over the ear and pop it in a hearing aid. But with that, my ears just didn't like it, and it just caused more ear infections. So I was offered what's called a Baja, which is a bone-anchored hearing aid. So if anybody says a Baja to you, they're not going, not turning into like a laughing sheep. Baja. Yeah.
That was terrible.
It was terrible, yeah. Dad jokes are here. And it's made by the company Cochlear. So it's the same ones that do the cochlear implants around the back of the head, so the magnet that pops on.
I was going to say, you have to explain that bit as well, because anyone that heard that
I think quite a people probably heard of cochlear implants.
Yeah.
But the same company also makes the Bajas. Well, the Baja is literally a screw that is into the skull, and it protrudes out outside the skin, and then the skin kind of grows around what's called the abutment, which is the screw. And then this little Baja pops onto the screw by like a popper, the same as you pop on your coat poppers. Same kind of concept. And then it just gives me sound, and it uses vibrations in the skull to let the sound go into the inner ear where your hearing bones are. And that is what Baja is.
And you got, the reason I point out that you got new ears is because you not only replaced it, you've upgraded, haven't you?
Yeah, well,
like a phone.
Yeah, with the Baja, I mean, the technology is amazing. It's got Bluetooth technology now, which was in my last Baja. And I could connect it to the TV, and I would hold down the top button, and it would automatically connect to the TV, because I've got like a TV streamer box that sends the sound to it. And my button broke. So I was unable to connect it, and it was really doing my head in. So before Christmas, I rang up Audiology and said, the button's broke. I need to come in and get to get it fixed. So I turn up and sit down in the audiologist's, and my audiologist is Andrew. He's the only one that deals with the Bajas in Taunton. Really nice
Andrew.
chap.
Thanks for listening.
Shout out to Andrew, amazing guy. And he says, we're just going to send yours off to be refurbished, and we're going to give you a new one. Oh, cool. And he went, we're going to upgrade you. I went, sorry? Yeah, we're going to upgrade you to the newer one that came out about 6 months ago. So I'm now wearing the Baja 6 Max. Max, baby. I mean, I have the iPhone Max Pro thing, so it's all Max. And if you look on my Instagram, I posted pictures of the old one and the new one side by side, so you can get an idea of how it's changed. But what's also changed is a completely new, different sound. So where obviously we hear things in, is it megahertz? And there's like a range. And before, in my last hearing aid, the Baja, it was just a small range. But because technology has moved on, that range is now widened.
Right.
So I am hearing brand new sounds for the very first time now that I haven't heard in many, many years.
Like what?
The first one being, I was driving in the car back from the audiologist back to Bridgewater, and I had the radio on. And you know the cymbal on a drum?
Yeah.
I could hear it.
The hi-hat.
I never realized I couldn't hear it before, but I could hear it clear as day.
Okay.
And also when people's talking, the s sounds and the t sounds are more pronounced now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have they always been like that? Or is this a new thing? So it literally, my brain is learning how to hear again through this hearing aid in a completely different way. Yeah. Which the last 2 days, and those of you that have hearing loss and know about, it was literally brain overload through hearing. I had headaches. I've had headaches for the last couple of days now, where it's just been so much hearing has been going on that I've been able to hear stuff. And yeah, it's amazing because I can hear different things. Like, it's really hard to explain unless you've had the loss, and then you kind of forget these sounds. Like, I mean, the very first time I had a hearing aid, just a conventional one, the one thing that shocked me the most is hearing the leaves rustling in the trees. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Things that you guys who's got normal hearing take for granted, kind of thing. It's just leaves rustling in the trees, but I could hear it for the first time in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So, long story short, I've been upgraded, and I am chuffed. The connection technology with it is a lot better. And usually when I'm on the phone, it takes a while to link up. Now it's like instantaneous. Listening to music on my phone as well, it's coming through crisp and clear, and just literally hearing different sounds within the music. So I need to go through and listen to all my music again to get that new appreciation of all the actual sounds that are going on within it.
And you know what you need to listen to again? Your record player. I bet you'll hear the records more.
Definitely. I'll probably get cheesed off with the crackle in it now because I'll probably hear the crackle.
Yeah.
But
no, that's cool.
It's amazing, and a big shout out to Cochlear who upgraded this, and because without it, I'll be living in a very quiet world.
Yeah, won't we all?
But for those that are listening that are coming on to camp, if you would like to experience what I hear, I have
that was going to be my next point.
I have got a little thing that's called Share the Experience, and it's a little plastic device where we can just pop it on your head and pop my Baja to it. It won't hurt you at all or anything. And you put your fingers in your ears, and then you can hear the sound that I hear. Not as well as what I can get it, but as close to it.
So if you're going to come on here,
I'll bring it to camp.
If you're going to come on camp, we're going to take you hearing, and then you can hear like Darren.
Yes, and it's a completely different sound because I hear more like a digital sound. So if you were listening to if you recorded yourself and listened back, and that, because obviously it sounds a lot different when you listen back.
Yeah,
I hear that sound. So it's kind of like a digital computerized sound rather than the sound that you hear.
Okay.
But you will experience it on camp, but if you want to, that is. We're not going to make you. But if you fancy just experiencing what I have to, listen through, you can.
Yeah. And if you want to fancy experiencing what I have to hear, come on camp, spend 5 days with Darren.
Wow. Stick the knife in, mate. What are you going to come up with next to twist it?
I don't know. I haven't got any more. I'm on a roll.
Wow.
No, that's a joke.
Whatever.
If you want to experience what Sarah here, spend 5 days with Darren.
And there it is. There's the twist. Whatever.
But no, it's very cool. As I say, I saw that pop up on your Instagram. It's like, oh, that's fascinating. Because
it is. I mean,
it's one of those things. I don't think, like for you, obviously, you'd know a lot about it, having experienced it and stuff like that. But for anyone else, I think a Baja's a Baja. Like, you wouldn't even give it a thought that, actually, as technology moves on, so does the technology of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got pictures of the first Baja that I had on my phone somewhere, and it was a proper chunky block.
Yeah.
That I think it was probably the second or third one that they've made. And and I've only been upgraded twice. This is the second upgrade that I've received. The first upgrade was when they actually introduced the Bluetooth technology.
Right.
And just to be able to connect it to your phone was just amazing. Like when I answer my phone, I answer it through the Baja. So it
is the weirdest thing though. When I first realised you could do that, and you were answering your phone, and you'd be like, "Hello," and I'd be like, "I've literally been sat here the whole time." You'd be like, "No, I'm on the phone." Oh, okay.
But it is because I forget about it when being around people, and they must think I'm just like stark raving mad because suddenly I'm just talking to myself. Because not many people know what a Baja is and that it's Bluetooth technology and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but it means that I can watch, Instagram videos, YouTube, any sort of videos, all streamed directly to my Baja.
Nice.
But the only thing I have switched off now is it used to ring in my Baja, and that was so annoying because it used to be really loud. So I've turned that feature off. But that's the reason why I got to stay with the iPhone. Because I'm not sure if this one still is, but I know the original was designed for iPhone. So within the iPhone, there's under the accessibility bit, there's the link or pair with a hearing aid. So it all goes through that, so I can increase the volume and got some really cool controls. Because it's Bluetooth, I can go onto the app. I mean, why they stuck a child on it, I don't know.
Right.
But then I can, as you can see, Anthony, I can actually turn down my Baja and turn it up. But different with this one, I've turned it right down now, it's gone really weird, is that I can now adjust the bass and the middle and the treble.
Ooh,
so
fancy.
I can increase the bass when listening to music and stuff like that, which I could never do before.
Okay.
I'm just trying
it is a fascinating device to have, isn't it? Like to be able to, and the fact that you've got something that people can experience it as well is mad. But I mean, hearing, sight, all those types of senses, there, you don't notice how, as you say, taken for granted they are.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favourite stories ever from working with children and young people. For anyone that doesn't know, Georgia and I used to work in a school, and Georgia used to work with a child that had cochlear implants, and where they took them off one day, their cochlear implants, and then covered their eyes and was like, now I can't see or hear you, Miss Lane, and just ignored it.
But the beauty of this is I wish I had it in school.
Yeah.
You could just, so I could just listen to music and nobody would know.
Yeah.
No one would know.
No. Yeah, because they now do that thing where the headphone goes up the sleeve and they...
Yeah. The thing is, I could have done, cheated in exams because I can have live listen where somebody could be outside the exam on their phone and like use my phone as a microphone and speak directly to me without anybody knowing.
Ooh.
I mean, the opportunities are endless, but I mean, don't do that, kids, because it's wrong. Shouldn't cheat. But that's the thing. There is an option to live listen, and I've even got in my drawer here is a little microphone, so during meetings people can wear it. So if it's a really really noisy environment, it's one downfall is that I can't, in my head, can't turn off other people talking. Whereas you in a pub can kind of block out what everybody else is saying and just concentrate on the person in front of you.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, all the information goes in.
Yeah, well, that's what
way of turning that off, and that's the only downside to it all.
That's what you found when we went to see Switchfoot, wasn't it? A few years ago, it was the atmosphere of all the noise.
Yeah, I think during Switchfoot, I think I had to turn it off because it was so loud. So I didn't actually need my Baja at that point.
But there you go. So there's an update on your week. That was
yeah, I didn't even think about that one actually, to be honest. But
oh yeah, no, I did. That was one that jumped out at me. But yeah, fascinating stuff. But if you have any questions for Darren regarding that, send them to us. I'm sure he won't mind answering them on a later podcast. Even if it's something to do with not even the Baja, just hearing in general, or like.
Yeah, I must admit, it's one of those things that, you know, we're told when we're younger, don't play music too loud, you'll damage your ears. And it is, guys, you know, don't play it too loud, because once you damage your ears, it doesn't repair itself. Like with other things, you know, if you cut your finger, you know, your skin can repair itself. If you damage your liver, that can repair itself. A lot of things within your body has this thing of being able just to repair. Your hearing is the only thing that won't. Once it's damaged for good. There's no coming back. So there is the reason why you shouldn't blast music down your ears, you know, and stuff like that. So just be really careful with your hearing, because, you know, once it's gone, you will miss it. You know, and talk to any old school drummers as well, musicians. You know, back in the day when they didn't have the old earplugs in, reducing the sound and giving them like the music that's playing. They would tell you the same. There's so many musicians now that are wearing hearing aids because they didn't protect their ears.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not being the boring old person, because, you know, once it's gone, it's gone. It's kind of the thing. So, and all right, there is technology out there to help, but it took a lot for me to go for the operation to have the Baja fitted.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't just immediately. You can't just do it
because it's a screw in my skull.
Yeah.
And when I had it done, they had to remove a piece of skin and remove the hair follicles. So I will never have hair grow on that square patch. Whereas if I stopped wearing it and had the screw taken out, yes, the bone would heal itself, the skin would grow over, but I'd look a right plonk because I have this square patch missing on the side of my head. So. But there's some interesting things, you know, if I go for a haircut, I got to be, the hairdresser's got to be really careful that she doesn't catch it on the clippers. But because it's connected to bone, if it's caught on the clippers, it feels like, have you ever banged your tooth?
Yeah.
And you feel it all in your bones?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, but over your entire head.
Oh.
It's not painful.
It's just annoying.
Gives you the biggest cringe, and you just want to like shake all over, like, oh. Yeah. It's not good.
Oh, lovely.
Anyway.
Lovely. I mean, that's no, it's a good conversation to have, because as you say, I know that we've I know your Baja's been mentioned on the podcast before, but I don't think we've ever properly talked about it like that. So no, it's good. It's good.
And even the disease I had, you know, it's a rare disease, not known that much. It's called a cholesteatoma. And the operation I had to have was a radical mastoidectomy. Don't ask me to spell them because I can't. I have to Google it.
All such big words.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, and even when I first got my Baja, I joined a Facebook group because the audiologist told me to, just to speak to people about it. And it was kind of a support group as well for Baja users, and absolutely amazing group. Was able to speak to them, go through the pros and the cons, and ask them how they've been getting on. And without that, I don't think I would have done it. It was a big decision. But anybody that wants to talk about hearing loss and talk about, you know, anymore, just let me know and we can have a chat. Or if you want to have a whole podcast on the exact diagnosis and the amount of operations I've had to have, and how I scared Sarah half to death about it, and let us know and we'll do a podcast about it. So I know we've just talked quite a lot about it now, but there's a lot more to it.
There's a whole side to it, and actually, you know, I mean that has been a main topic point for us today as well. But as you say, there's such a vast majority of information and experiences that you can share on that if people do want to hear more about it, please do let us know. info@castisyouth.org.uk.
And this is my disability that Anthony takes the mickey out of. So there you go.
No, right. We made it through a whole podcast, and I didn't say anything. You said that.
Not yet.
And actually, I don't take the mick out of your disability.
Okay.
It's your disability card.
Here we go. Hey, do you know what? I know that my hearing loss, right, is not really... I mean, it is a disability, but it's not a disability in the grand scheme of things. But I got a disability rail card, and just to get cheaper rail travel. That's all it's for. And because I got hearing loss, they allowed me to have it. But I didn't realise that with it became that I could get a discount for a carer. Why I need a carer when I'm perfectly fine, I don't know. But if they're going to offer it, I'm going to take it. And ever since that day, Anthony has taken the mickey.
But you never tell the backstory. You always just say that day, and we never talk about that day. So I just sound dreadful. But what happened was we were paying for tickets, and we were talking about, because we were going to London, obviously the last time Darren and I went to London before that was to see Switchfoot, and the shock on Darren's face when he had to buy a drink and he paid something like £10.50 for 2 drinks was...
Horrendous.
So I happened to say, when we were at the train station, just to warn you, it's not going to be cheap because we're getting a travel card. And that's when you went, don't worry about me, I've got my card and Sarah gets in free, right? That was how you worded it, which is why I now take the mic. But yeah, no, so everything we do now, I challenge Darren to bring his card out and see if it can. I don't
think I've even got it anymore, mate. I think I let it lapse because obviously being in lockdown and everything. How many trains have I been on? 0.
But it doesn't just do trains, does it? Didn't it do some sort of restaurants as well or something? Wasn't there a card you had that did you discounts?
Don't think so.
I'm sure there was.
I mean, this is my student card, but that wasn't. I didn't have that then.
No one cares about your student card.
Anyway, talking about my disability, this is a really, really bad link into, but yesterday was Holocaust Memorial Day.
What was that link? How?
Because during the Holocaust, a lot of disabled people were also killed. It was really bad. Okay. It was a really bad link.
That was a terrible linking.
Yeah, apologies. But it only popped in my brain because Brendan said, Dad, you've got a disability. Because we did it in youth last night. We had the ceremony on in the background, and we lit a candle at 8:00 in memory of all those who died and also those who survived and are still with us today. Not just the Holocaust, but all the other genocides that have happened. But Brendan said...
Before we go any further, I would just like to put a warning on the rest of this podcast now as to what we're going to talk about. Could be triggering to some people. Continue. It makes us sound professional. Come on, mate. Let me do it. Next. Okay.
And also, the views expressed in this podcast does not necessarily are the views of Catalyst Youth UK, as written in the description below, just as a disclaimer. But Brendan asked me, what was the Holocaust and things like that. So I explained it to him. Really surprised that it hasn't been taught in primary school. Hoping that they'll do it in secondary school because it's part of the curriculum.
I'm surprised they don't talk about it in primary school because they do World War II quite a lot. And I know from working in primary school, we one of the books we looked at was The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is set in the concentration camps. And
so I'm not sure. Anyway, but I said to Brendan about a disability, and I said, it wasn't just Jewish people, although they were the hardest hit through the Holocaust. It was the Romani Gypsies, the disabled, the LGBT community, just a whole range of stuff, and also any of those that opposed the Nazi regime.
Huge.
And I said to Brendan that the possibility is that through my disability, because I've cost the NHS thousands of pounds, just this Baja is around about $4,000 to buy. I've not put in all the money that I've taken out the NHS. I've not put that money in the NHS. So very grateful.
NHS, if you're listening, Darren's the reason that you're
struggling,
not getting paid.
But that was one of the Nazis regime kind of slogans, is that a disabled person is costing you like 10,000 Deutschmarks at the time, wasn't it? A year, and that was a lot of money back in the 1940s.
Yeah.
And it was all the propaganda around it. So the possibility is that, I could have been one of those rounded up. And, you just got to, if you want to find out more, head over to www.hmd.org.uk, which is the Holocaust Memorial Day's website. And it tells you a lot more than what we can talk about here. But it just kind of linked into him to the Memorial Day yesterday, that it kind of rings true, because he knows somebody with a disability that could have happened to. So he was saying, could that have happened to us here? And it's kind of like, well, actually, if the Germans won the war, possibly, who knows what would have happened. But, thousands upon thousands of people died. And it's not just the Holocaust, it's all the other genocides that happened, has happened since then. When you think of genocide, the Holocaust, I think, is kind of the main one that kind of jumps in your brain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there's literally, others. And
and that's the thing. But it's acknowledging as you say, the circumstances around it, and actually sometimes it is easier to get your head around it when you can describe it in, as you say, to Brendan, you used it as someone he knew and how that fitted in. So yeah, it's an important day to acknowledge it, really, and to remember all those. Obviously we do Remembrance Day for those in wars, and
I think it's one of those that the Holocaust Memorial Day should be more publicized for people to take part in. I don't think it's got the publicity that it should. Because I don't know why. But because we did it with the youth on Wednesday night. We looked at the 10 stages of genocide and looked at those 10 stages in comparison to what's going on in the world today, which is a very interesting talk. And I really, really enjoyed the talk because they came out with some amazing things.
Yeah.
Literally, we looked at the first stage, which I'm trying to think of now. I'm literally just going to the website and searching up the poster because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than getting it wrong. So like stage one is classification. So the differences between people are not respected. There's a division of us and them, which can be carried out using stereotypes or excluding people who are perceived to be different. Where do we see that in the world today? And black and white people within America, there's a massive division there at the moment.
Yeah.
And we went on to talk about more like the LGBTQ community, and then we've talked about another religious groups that are being, through Muslims to Christians to other, and already we have already spotted stage one of genocide. And then I think we got to as far as stage 8 of 10.
Okay.
Which is quite, pretty bad.
As to what we can see in the world today.
Yeah. Which so it goes with classification, then symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution. So we managed to find a whole group of people to fit up to stage 8. Stage 9 is extermination, and stage 10 is denial. So I don't know of any extermination that's happening at the moment.
No.
But if we jump stage 9 and go to stage 10, there's a lot of people that will deny that the Holocaust even happened, which absolutely baffles my brain. But then it's, with the HMD, they're not just for the Holocaust. But they're there for the Cambodia genocide in the 70s, the genocide in Rwanda in the 90s, the Bosnian genocide in the 90s, and Darfur in 2003 to the present day. There's just so much of it still going on.
Yeah,
that it's down to us as younger people. I'm 40, so do I still class
yourself
myself
in that category? What are you playing at?
I'm going to. but it's down to us to continue to learn from what's happened and to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I think it's down to us as youth workers and as parents to make sure that the younger generation knows about it and knows that it is wrong. And most people will know that it's wrong. But one of the things that jumped out the most was the polarization, which for those of you, if you want to head over, go over to the HMD website and look at the 10 stages of genocide poster, and it'll give you a little snippet.
We'll put it in the link below wherever you get your podcasts as well.
Yeah.
We can do that, I guess, can't we?
Yeah, definitely. The polarization is the propaganda begins to be spread by hate groups. And you think, we see that. We see that a lot. From so many things, even down to the COVID vaccination. Yeah. There's a lot of propaganda being put across about it. And it's just absolutely crazy. And, you can see it happening around the world, all these different stages. And it was a really in-depth conversation on Wednesday. Which is what youth Bible study is all about, is just getting down to the nitty-gritty and getting deep in thought and conversation. But also last night, it was a very moving service, although some of the youth didn't really watch the ceremony that long because it wasn't really pitched for their age, sadly. But I did call them together at 8:00 and we did light candles, and we spent, actually, I didn't tell them to, but they just stood there in silence while the song was playing on in the background. I didn't tell them they had to light a candle and be silent. No. They just did it and remained silent. And I thought, okay, perhaps some of what they were listening to whilst they were messing around and playing actually did sink in. I think a lot more goes in than maybe is acknowledged sometimes. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, for me, for the Holocaust part, because I know we're rambling on quite a lot, so we're going to wrap it up soon, is that for me, I met a Holocaust survivor in secondary school. And that moment of meeting them and hearing their story has stayed with me all these years. Even to the point where they showed me their tattoo on their wrist of their number. For those of you that don't know the Holocaust, search it up online of what happened. Be prepared. There are some really gruesome sights. So that has stayed with me. If you are looking this up and you are under 18, please check with your parents what you are looking at before you do it. Yeah, perhaps head over to the HMD website. Is a bit more censored over there. And then if you're over the 18, search up a bit more, get some more information. Because for me, the only information I ever knew was what you'd see in movies. But when you actually get to see a video of concentration camps being liberated and actually sit in a room with a Holocaust survivor and hear their story, it just sinks in, and you just remember that. And I remember that to this day, and I always remember it to the day I die. It was so moving to hear their story. And they weren't in Auschwitz. They were in one of the other ones. I can't remember which one they were in. But I think Auschwitz was the most, the worst one of the whole lot. In count of numbers, I mean, not saying that it was a theme park at the others, but I think numbers wise, I think Auschwitz was the highest. Without a doubt. But I mean, if you, as Darren says, if you want to know more, head over to the website. The link will be in here. But let us know if anything we've said has brought up any questions or anything you want to share or chat to us. We're happy to talk to you. But take a moment out of your weekend this weekend to think of those who have been affected by things like that, who have been affected to this day, those affected in the past, and just take a moment to remember them and, have a bit more in-depth thought about that. Yeah, and also, like we would do on a remembrance. Yeah, and also mark the date in your diary. It's always the 27th of January every year. Yeah. So mark that date in your diary for next year. If you don't want to watch the ceremony, because it isn't pitched for younger people, it's more for adults, I think, from what I was watching. But join in at the 8:00, where you light a candle and you place it in your window, and it was light in the darkness. or Light the Darkness was the hashtag that they used. And just that moment, I think, for me, was just that moment of remembrance of them, and not also the ones that died, but those that survived and go on to tell their story. You know, sadly, from the Holocaust, we are losing that story is going. But because of the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust, their stories live on, and you can watch the films of them. Some are like 5-10 minutes, some are 20 minutes long. But head over to www.hmd.org.uk or click in the link below, because we'll chuck a link in there to the couple of things that we've talked about. But definitely have a read, and next year try and join in if you can.
Yeah, but there we go. I mean, it's been a deep, informative podcast today. But it's been nice. It's good to have these conversations and to have it a bit deeper sometimes. But yeah, as I say, any questions, anything that you want to send us, that you have for us, any comments, please do email us. You know where you can find them. Darren will remind you of that in a minute as well. But just before I pass over to Darren to finish us off, just a reminder, because we have talked about it already, we've touched on it, but the 25th to the 29th of July 2022, Catalyst Youth UK Summer Camp is happening. Around the World in 80 Days theme, face to face. It's going to be great. And if you are part of our groups and you have not signed up already, get in there quick, because
what are you waiting for?
Are going.
Come on.
And if you're not part of our group, but you're local to us, come and join our group and then sign up, because you would be more than welcome. Ages 11 to 17, we would love to have you there.
Definitely. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, we've booked a recce. We're going to go up and scope the place out. So that's already in the diary. We've got loads of bookings already come in. People have started paying their money already. We've had donations coming in as well. I mean, everything so far has been so positive for this year's camp. So head over to our website at www.catalystyouth.org.uk, and you can actually find a booking form on there if you're local to us. If you don't come to our groups, make sure you get in touch. Don't just fill out the form and send it to us, because we'll be looking like, who's that? Yeah,
we're putting one request in that if you would like to come, we're more than happy for it. But if possible, we want to try and meet you beforehand, so we know who's coming and you know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, well, we definitely need to know who you are. So we definitely need to meet you. But head over to our website. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so by heading over to our website. There's a message board on there, or you can email us at either Anthony info or Darren at catalystyouth.org.uk. Don't forget, this podcast is here every Friday at 2 p.m. or thereabouts. Thank you so much for listening. It's always been a pleasure, and it's never a chore. It's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Cheers. See ya.
That was terrible.
Mixing it up. I know.